And now, live from the Steele Twins recording studio in beautiful Traverse City, Michigan, and from the Metro Detroit area, here are your hosts for the Outside Blitz, the fabulous Scotty Fraytown, the Bootleg Bettor, and the Cannonball, Alex Steele.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Outside Blitz. I am your host, the fabulous one, Scotty Fraytown, along with my co-hosts for today. First, joining me from the beautiful Traverse City, the Cannonball, Alex Steele. Alex, over there in Steele Twin Gaming Studio. How's everything going?
It's going well. Hey, so week 18 is come and gone. You know, I think I've got most of the brisket out of me by now. I'm just down to that last little slice of cheesy potatoes. But I'll tell you what, we were talking about how week 18 was going to be a week that we could not forget. And let me tell you, kids, it delivered.
Yeah, every step of the way. And to my left, joining me, large and in charge, the king of verbal sting, the master of disaster, the one, the only, who better to be than the Bootleg Bettor? Boots, welcome back to the show.
Hey, how y'all doing? I just got one thing to say. Kill the devil and do some good out here. And the last thing I'm going to say is it's Thankful Thursday, but it's Throwback Thursday. Y'all go throw it back on you. It's the BOOTLEG Better. Well, who better to be? The Outside Blitz back for more. You don't know what's in store. Amigo Mas Tequila. Si, senor. Let's go.
Yeah, we
Outside Blitz.
2026 is going to be a big year for us. So we're excited. Hey, listen, we're going to have we talked about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. We're going to have equipment upgrades. We're doing expansions. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. It's our year. It's going to be a good one. The 2026 of the Outside Blitz. Now, week 18 in the books. Alex, as you said, what a week. Wow.
Indeed. This one deserves a pop of the old top.
Yeah, well, lots of beer, lots of brisket, lots of fun. We had a hell of an NFL slate through the Week 18 games. And while there was some who gives a shit games, there were games that had a lot more implications than we were realizing, than we were expecting. Man, what a time in the NFL. Let's jump into these scores, fellas. Here are our scores for Week 18 in the NFL, starting out with the Bucs and the Panthers. So the Buccaneers, they go out and beat the Panthers 16-14 to keep their playoff hopes alive in this game. Crazy thing is that even with them winning this game, it wouldn't matter because
if
well, we got to talk about the playoff implication. Okay, the implication. If the Buccaneers win this game, the following day, on Sunday, the Atlanta Falcons take on the New Orleans Saints. If the Falcons win that game, the Buccaneers are still eliminated from playoff contention.
Right.
So, and that happens because the Atlanta Falcons, surprisingly, and everybody thought it was just a foregone conclusion that the Falcons were going to lose to the Rams in Week 17. But the Falcons beat the Rams in Week 17.
All right.
So the Buccaneers come out here and they beat the Carolina Panthers 16-14. Look, Baker Mayfield, 16 for 22, 203 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Bucky Irving, 26 carries for 85 yards. Cade Otton, 7 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans, just 2 catches for 34 yards in this game. Rashad White, 2 for 18. Everybody else was basically non-factor. Meanwhile, for
tons of rain.
Yep, that was a very rainy game. Meanwhile, for the Panthers, Bryce Young, 24 for 35, 266, 2 touchdowns and a pick. The run game, non-existent. I don't understand how you only give a guy like Rico Dowdle, who carried your whole season, 7 carries. Make it make sense.
I don't understand how there are 12 carries total.
Yeah, I agree with you. Receiving wise, Ted McMillan, 4 receptions, 85 yards, leads the team. Jalen Coker, 6 for 47 and a touchdown. Tommy Tremble, the tight end, 3 for 38 and a touchdown. And then Bryson Tremaine gets 2 for 27. Xavier Legette, 3 for 22. Spread the ball out nicely, did Bryce Young, but it wasn't enough. The Bucs win this game 16-14, and they keep their playoff hopes alive going into Sunday for that Falcons-Saints showdown.
All this.
Yeah. So then we go into the next Saturday game, which was Seahawks versus the 49ers. Both these games were kind of snoozers, to be honest with you, for a Saturday primetime game. The Seahawks go out and beat the 49ers 13-3.
This was a defensive clinic.
Yeah, the Seahawks go out. They basically win the number 1 seed here by beating the 49ers. The Niners drop down to the 6th seed. We'll talk about that shortly, but the reason for that anyway. But statistically, Sam Darnold, 20 for 26, 198 yards in this game. Kenny Walker, 16 for 97. Zach Charbonnet, 17 for 74 and a touchdown. Receiving-wise, Jackson Smith-Njigba just keeps rolling. 6 receptions, 84 yards. Kenny Walker, 4 for 36. Cooper Kupp, 2 for 29. As for the Niners, Brock Purdy, 19 for 27 for 127 yards and a pick. Brock, he had a rough day. This is the first rough day that Brock's had since he's returned here. Christian McCaffrey, just 8 carries for 23 yards. We talk about a lack of carries in that last game. Here we are again. Brian Robinson.
Do my eyes deceive me? 8 for 23 for Run CMC? Make it make sense.
Doesn't make any. Juwan Jennings, just 4 receptions for 35. Christian McCaffrey, 6 for 34. George Kittle, 5 for 29. And DeMarcus Robinson pops up with a couple of clutch catches in this one, but it wasn't enough. 3 receptions for 24 yards. First, let's talk about that first game. Boring games, boring slates, defensive battles, we can call them. But at the end of the day, the Bucs, they keep their playoff hopes alive. The Bucs, I mean, they've struggled down the stretch here. We knew that game was going to be a lot tighter than we expected. Bucs do exactly what they need to do, get the win and keep their playoff hopes alive going into the next game slate on Sunday.
Yeah, you got to handle your business.
Yep. So they keep themselves alive. Meanwhile, for the Seahawks, is exactly what I wanted. All roads go through Seattle, right? Sam Darnold does just enough. The run game for Seattle stands up strong, right?
I don't know how you let Kenneth Walker the third run for a first down on 3rd and 15, 16, 17 on a draw play.
Yeah, this was the best play or the best game that Kenny Walker had all year, is it not?
I mean, he had a couple better games though, throughout the season. But that was a really clutch run.
Oh yeah.
And what really stands out is the Seahawks defense is head and shoulders above every defense in the league.
Yeah, I was about to say every one of them.
Except maybe Houston.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Houston got the argument, but Seattle, very, very tough defense.
There's not many teams that can stand up to that Seattle defense, and credit to Mike McDonald over there, who's done excellent work since his time in Baltimore. And now he's going into year 2 at the Seahawks, and that defense just looks unstoppable.
Yeah, it goes from DC to a head coach.
Yep.
Doing work.
Yep. So then we roll into the Sunday game. We roll into this big Sunday slate. The first one, you just got done talking about the Houston Texans. The Texans go out and beat the Colts 38-20. Riley Leonard draws the start for the Colts. He goes 21 for 34 for 270 yards and 2 touchdowns and a pick. It was a very surprising game. Very, very good surprising game from Riley Leonard in this one.
I like Riley Leonard.
Yeah, he played good ball. Rushing-wise, DJ Giddens, 8 carries for 30 yards. Jonathan Taylor, 14 carries for 26 yards in this game. And Riley Leonard also ran 3 times for 21 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, receiving-wise, Alec Pierce, man, he came on really late this year. Last 2-3 weeks, 4 receptions for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns in this one.
That one big bomb.
Yeah. Josh Downs,
66 yards.
Yeah. Josh Downs, 4 for 61. Tyler Warren, 5 for 26. Amir Abdullah, 2 for 24. I didn't even know he was still playing. Meanwhile, for the Texans, C.J. Stroud, 14 for 23, 169 yards and a touchdown. British Brooks, 13 carries for 63 yards. Jaquavius Woody Marks gets 10 for 48. Davis Mills also runs 1 time for 12 yards. Mills did come into this game for a brief period here near the end of the game.
Old giraffe neck.
Yeah, 9 passes in this one. He went 3 for 9 for 36 yards. Receiving-wise, Xavier Hutchinson, 5 for 84. Dalton Schultz, 4 for 73. Jaden Higgins, 2 for 23 and a touchdown. Jalen Noel, 1 for 13. The Texans escape in this game, but they do enough to get it done. The Colts had control of this game right up until the fourth quarter, where the Texans threw 12 down on the scoreboard there in the fourth quarter. I mean, they do enough to get it done. They wind up 12-5. So the Texans, with this game, they keep their playoff hopes alive. But into the next one,
Called it.
yep, you did. Into the next one, the Jags go out and dominate the Tennessee Titans. And the Jags beat the Titans 41-7. They go out and win the AFC South. Liam Cohen, in his first season, wins the AFC South, defeating the Tennessee Titans. So, I mean, yeah, and here we are. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 22 for 30 for 255, 3 touchdowns. Will the real Trevor Lawrence please stand up? Travis Etienne, just 14 carries for 32 yards. Not a big rushing week this week, by the way. Parker Washington, 5 receptions for 87 yards and a touchdown. Bretton Strange, 6 for 52 and a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr., 3 for 49. Jacoby Myers, 5 for 44. Tootin also ran for that touchdown. I mean, here we are. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they go out and win this game. So while the Texans are in the playoffs, the Texans wind up as the, 6th seed in this situation?
That is, no, they end up as the 5th seed.
5 seed. Okay, so the Texans wind up in the 5 seed here, but the Jags wind up, 3 in this whole situation?
Yep,
I mean,
3rd seed.
yeah.
And
So,
we'll find out. Buffalo had long ago clinched their playoff spot, and you notice that both of them went 12-5. So their records were very much similar. But I think the real factor there is the Houston won more division games. So those division games really mean a lot down the stretch.
they do, and both these teams, they played back-to-back. Boots, you were talking last week about how, they might be doing a little bit of scoreboard watching. And even though they're playing back-to-back games, I'm sure they were. But now,
in that instance, you don't want to be distracted, right? You have to play your game. You can't be worrying about what's going on outside of your purview, outside of your control. The only control you have is your game at that particular moment.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't suggest, scoreboard watch. But here's the thing, though. With the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars game, Cam Ward goes out really early. Cam Ward was looking good early in the game. He gets hurt, goes to the tent. We never see him again.
After the rushing touchdown.
Yeah, and instead we get Brandon out.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's about all she wrote there.
It was over at that point.
It was about done.
Yeah.
But
the saddest thing about that is, even with their less than stellar record of 3-14, our fine friends at Tankathon have the Tennessee Titans picking 4th in the draft. 4th.
Yeah, they'll be picking 4th. That's a tough situation, and then especially for a team that was really god awful. But they have other things on their plate too. They're searching for a new head coach right now. Titans, they're scheduled to interview Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy on Thursday for their head coaching job, which that was today. Mike Garofalo, Tom Pelissero, and Ian Rappaport are all reporting that the interviews are scheduled with Raheem Morris, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. The now former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. We'll talk about that momentarily.
Who told you that?
Yep. The Titans have also requested interviews with Broncos defensive coordinator Vance Joseph and Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, who was the former defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. So they're going to be digging around for their new head coach.
But should be calling John Harbaugh.
Yeah, they should be calling it John Harbaugh.
More on that in a minute, kids. Do you want to talk about Black Monday?
Yeah.
Ooh.
What a rough go. But the Titans, they're conducting interviews across the NFL, so get ready for that. In the meantime, we'll talk about this Bucs game or this Falcons Saints game. So the Buccaneers, their playoff implications, their playoff hopes, all rested on the shoulders of the New Orleans Saints, and the Saints couldn't get it done. The Atlanta Falcons go out and beat the New Orleans Saints. Now, I want to point out the irony here, because for the last 2 to 3 years, it's always come down to the very last game of the year in the regular season, Week 18, Falcons versus Bucs. And winner goes in, loser goes home. Now the Atlanta Falcons have never been able to eliminate the Buccaneers in that stretch. Nope. Now the Atlanta Falcons, with their season gone, and eliminated from the playoffs mathematically.
Uh-huh.
They finally managed to eliminate the Tampa Bay Bucks in Week 18 with a win over the New Orleans Saints.
You could not make this stuff up if you tried.
Oh, yeah. And so the Falcons, in this one, they win 19-17. Tyler Shuck, 23 for 35, 259, a touchdown and a pick. Audric Estime, 21 carries for 63 yards. Tyler Shuck also had 3 carries for 34. He ran a touchdown in. Juwan Jennings, 3 receptions for 61. Dante Pettis, 5 for 60.
He's still around?
Yep. Audric Estime, 5 receptions for 43 yards. Kevin Austin Jr., 4 for 37. Taysom Hill, 3 for 32. Meanwhile, for the Falcons, Kirk Cousins, 18 for 32, 180 yards, a touchdown, and a pick.
On a screen pass.
Yeah.
At the goal line.
It was a bad pick. Bad pick.
Oh. And yet they still found a way to win the game.
Yep. Bijan Robinson, 15 carries for just 33 yards. That Saints defense is actually pretty for real. Drake London, 4 receptions for 78, a touchdown. Kyle Pitts, 6 for 58. Darnell Mooney, 3 for 20. I mean, the Falcons, they win this game, and with his last gasp, Raheem Morris eliminates the Tampa Bay Bucks with his last gasp as a head coach because the Falcons have fired head coach Raheem Morris, and they've also fired general manager Terry Fontenot. The Falcons are the first team to end the season on a 4-game win streak and then change coaches the next season since the 2021 Raiders, who won their last 4 games, if you recall, under interim head coach Rich Bisaccia after he took over for the fired John Gruden.
Yep.
The Raiders then hired Josh McDaniels the next season. They went 6-11. Morris has confirmed head coaching interviews in the next several weeks with Cardinals, Giants, Titans, per several sources. But Raheem Morris is out as the Falcons head coach, and Terry Fontenot is out as the Falcons GM. So they're on a GM search. They're on a head coach search.
They're on Star Search.
Yeah.
Comes back on Netflix. And the fact is, the Atlanta Falcons horribly underperformed the entire season and the entire run of Raheem Morris. I've been saying it. He did not coach at a high enough level, and I knew that this was going to happen. I feel sorry for him, but the fact is the team didn't win the games they should have won, and surprisingly won games that they shouldn't have won.
Yep. And then on top of the whole problem with the Falcons, they've got a bunch of cap issues that they're dealing with, and they have since
I ordered one, and it was way too big for my head.
Well, that's the style.
That's
the style. What's the style? No, the big caps?
No.
You don't like
Oh, no. I need something that's going to fit my head, man.
Yeah, well, they've got other issues with the salary cap. They were down to I think it was $3 million roughly. Well, they've reworked Kirk Cousins' contract to create cap space for the 2026 season, moving some of his salary into the 2027 year. It drops his base salary for this upcoming year from $35 million to $2.1 million for 2026. It creates $32.9 million in cap space. It gives the Falcons $37 million going into next year. $67.9 million guarantee for 2027 on that contract vests on March 13th, 2026. So it forces a decision on Cousins' future by that date, as reported by ESPN and Sports Illustrated. The move gives the Falcons a clear path. They can move on from Cousins. It allows him to find another starting role, if available, or a new situation, according to Pro Football Rumors. This structure facilitates a post-June 1 release, spreading dead money over 26 and 27 and creating significantly more cap space in 2026 for free agency. So really what it comes down to is Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons had him restructure his deal. I don't think Kirk Cousins wants to be there.
Well, no, it's going to be a disaster next season unless they get the right people in place at the right time. It's going to be bad. You get rid of the coach, you get rid of the GM. Now everything is in flux, and everything is a lot of moving parts at the wrong time.
Yep.
Because Carolina is solidified, Atlanta is not solidified. Tampa Bay, well, they're going to be have some issues.
Yeah.
And the Saints, they're solidified right now. And speaking of the Saints, Tyler Shuck, if you notice, read the names of the receivers who caught passes.
Yeah.
Again,
it wasn't
Kevin Austin Jr.,
Kevin Austin.
Dante Pettis. When have we seen them all season? We haven't. Chris Olave.
He was hurt. Yeah,
right.
Hurt.
He was out with the blood clots in his lung.
Yep.
So whatever they were.
Yeah, it was the blood clot in his lung.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and no Shaheed.
Yep. Shahid's gone in Seattle.
They were putting a whole lot of confidence in backup wide receivers.
That's exactly it.
Right. And Tyler Shuck still found a way to keep the team close, to keep, they were within spitting distance of winning this deal, the entire way.
Yeah, they damn near won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's a wild experience to see.
It speaks to his talent that he has brought the team, to that particular point within the game.
Oh yeah. And then the house cleaning continued with the Atlanta Falcons. They go out and you'll have to excuse me. I lost my note here. The Falcons, they go out and they have changed their vice president of operations. So I mean they're moving.
Holy smokes! They're sweeping out the caboose.
Oh, buddy, they have. Rich McKay, no longer the CEO of the Falcons. Greg Beadles has been elevated from president and CEO of the Atlanta Falcons, effective yesterday, succeeding McKay. They're part of the sweeping changes in Atlanta, where the Falcons are expected to also hire a president of football who will likely be Matt Ryan. That's just wild. Just wild.
Maybe it's a figurehead position.
Maybe.
I mean, Matt Ryan's a very intelligent guy, but who knows?
Yeah, Matty Ice. They're talking about bringing Matty Ice in. So then, with that, because the Bucks are now eliminated from competition here, they're eliminated from playoff contention because of this game. So the Bucks start making moves, and sure enough, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they go out and they say that they're going to retain Todd Bowles for a 5th season. Frankly, I don't know why. I don't think he's a good head coach. I think he sucks. And I think that Todd Bowles is a bad babysitter for what was a very good team under Bruce Arians. That's what I think of Todd Bowles. I think he was the same thing when he was with the New York Jets. He stunk with them, and I think he's overrated and stunk with the Bucks. It should never, ever, with all a team, with all that talent, it should never continuously come down to Week 18 to become the NFC South champion.
I mean, they've made the playoffs since he's been the head coach. Now he has not. I agree with you to a certain extent. Todd Bowles has not coached to a high enough level.
No,
most of the time, but I can't deny the fact that the guy got the team to the playoffs multiple seasons while he was the head coach, even without Tom Brady. So I can't just say he sucks. What I will say, though, is I told you that the Carolina Panthers would win the division. I was the only one, only one on this show to say that the Carolina Panthers would win the division. And by hook or by crook, they got it done.
Yeah, they did. And the Bucs, part of their sweeping changes, though, they have officially fired offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard after one season.
Stupid.
This will change their offensive coordinator for the 5th time in 5 years. They also go out and fire their special teams coordinator, Tom McGuffey, after 2 seasons. It's kind of a surprising move. They ranked 15th in special teams played. They had a punter that had a 95.3 PFF grade, and a kicker who ranked between 6th and 7th and consistently in field goal accuracy.
Yeah, McLaughlin, he was pretty good.
Yeah. So
I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But the Bucs, they're just sweeping changes across the board for them, and then you're going to stick with Todd Bowles. But I think it also lends credence to the fact that we all said that we thought Liam Cohen was kind of the straw that stirred the drink over there when it came to the offense with the Bucs, and it's basically shown here. The Jags are the 3 seed. We didn't have that on the bingo card. Here we are, And then as for the Panthers, they have a showdown this upcoming week with the LA Rams, the big rematch.
Good luck. Good luck. And if we take a quick peek at the schedule game, you say it's a rematch, right?
Yes, sir. The Panthers beat the Rams several weeks ago. Handled. if you remember. It was a beating.
I wouldn't call 31-28 handily, but it was still a home stand against one of the better teams in football. So, and the Rams guard Dotson is with an ankle injury, remains out, so he won't be part of that game. So you sit there and talk about, yeah, the Rams defense is great. The Stafford's, MVP caliber. And he was like, hang on a second. If you got to go back to Carolina?
This Panthers team, it took that Rams team to task. And they did, for a majority of that game, they handled the Rams. They beat on the Rams.
Yeah, Stafford threw a couple of picks.
Yes, he did. And the Panthers are even going to come back even stronger. Right guard Robert Hunt, he could make his return in this game versus the Rams for this wild card matchup. So you're going to see a fortification of that offensive line with Robert Hunt, that interior that we wanted to see get fortified throughout the offseason that we were talking about. Well, here you go. One of the big guys that they signed was Robert Hunt, and he'll be back out on the field in the wild card. It's going to get a little interesting come playoff time this weekend, and I'm kind of excited about it.
Isn't his brother named Mike?
That's terrible.
Oh, man. Boots got jokes all day, kids. He'll be here all week. Try the veal.
Yeah, and then also for the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts, because we talk about them, they got beat out. Well, they are retaining head coach Shane Steichen and GM Chris Ballard for the 2026 season. Ballard says that he believes quarterback Daniel Jones has a bright future with the Colts.
You think?
Yes.
No.
You don't think so?
No, because we saw what we saw.
Yep.
Right? Daniel Jones, credit where credit is due. He played very well at the beginning of the season, and then the play started to taper off, and then it started to decline.
Yes.
That was before the injury.
Yep, and the teams are officially doing research on former Colts quarterback Philip Rivers as a potential head coaching candidate as well.
That would be sublime. I actually, you know what? That would be a great transition. That'd be a tremendous transition from playing one last season to putting a headset on. If you know anybody that knows football, it's Philip Rivers.
Yeah, I love the idea of it, but the lack of head coaching experience would make me a little concerned, to say the least.
I agree. I mean, it's a lot to take in, and you can't really do it that quickly either. Even former players usually take a couple of years before donning the headset, right?
Right. Next up, let's talk about the Browns. They go out and beat the Cincinnati Bengals 20-18 in the season finale in kind of a who gives a shit game.
Hey, come through, Cleveland.
Yeah, but except for Myles Garrett, as you said, because Myles Garrett is officially our new sack leader. He reached 23 sacks, breaking the sack record previously held by Michael Strahan.
There you go.
Strahan did throw some shade, saying that he did it in 16 games.
Except for that last one where Brett Favre turtled up and got in the fetal position and let you sack him.
And also some more shade got thrown because former Vikings defensive end Jared Allen also threw some, saying that he already broke the record, but the sack against Aaron Rodgers in the 2011 season was wrongfully taken away from him, which I believe and agree is true. Rodgers even said that was a sack, but the reason it was taken away from him was because Rodgers had fumbled the ball on the play. Yeah. So I think it's bullshit that they took that away from him, but I digress. At the end of the day, Myles Garrett is your new in the record books.
Well deserved. I mean, he's one of the best defensive players in football. It's a terrifying man on the field.
Yeah, I mean, arguably the best defensive player right now.
He could snap your neck faster than you snap your finger.
Yeah, he's a monster. But at the end of the day, the Cleveland Browns, Joe Burrow, congratulations, Myles Garrett. But Joe Burrow, 29 for 39, 236, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Chase Brown, 13 carries for 72 yards. Samaje Perine, 8 for 42. Receiving-wise, Jamar Chase, 8 receptions for 96 and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 6 for 67 and a touchdown. Chase Brown, 4 for 18 and a touchdown. Drew Sample, 3 for 17. Meanwhile, for the Browns, Shadur Sanders, just 11 for 22 for 111 yards. Dylan Sampson, 10 carries for 32 yards. Raheem Sanders, 5 carries for 26 yards. Cedric Tillman, 1 catch for 23. Malachi Corley, 2 for 20. Jerry Jeudy, 2 for 17. The Browns, they win this game, which, I mean, good for them, I guess.
And Shedeur Sanders leads the team down the field
Yep,
to kick that game-winning field goal
he does.
like he was supposed to do. Like I've been saying since day one, he should have been the first quarterback taken, and Kevin Stefanski made a huge mistake in not playing Shedeur Sanders earlier than he did.
Yep, well, it doesn't pay off not playing Shedeur Sanders because the Browns have officially fired head coach Kevin Stefanski after 6 seasons. Yep, and they've requested to interview the Bengals offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher for his vacant head coaching job, which I don't think is a smart move. If there's anything,
I've certainly never heard of the guy.
well, it's not a smart move given what happened during the Callahan experiment in Tennessee, because we know that Zach Taylor kind of calls the shots there.
Well, the fact that Zach Taylor still has a job, make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Bengals have said they are going to retain him, which is just, it's baffling to me, but he will be the Bengals head coach going into next season. Cleveland is also scheduled to interview offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, their current offensive coordinator, and their current defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, for the head coach.
Ooh, that would be because Jim Schwartz has head coaching experience with the Lions.
And not only that, he's the reason that defense is the way it is. I mean,
100%.
Jim Schwartz, he already knows the defense. The defense is already good. You get a good offensive coordinator. Imagine if you got Cliff Kingsbury over there.
Oh,
If something like that went on, or Mike McDaniel came over as the OC.
I could see Mike McDaniel better than I could see Cliff Kingsbury because Cleveland we need one more receiver over there.
Yeah.
So Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, it was it would be an interesting little situation over there. They're going to need to get a true number one receiver over there for Shedeur. I don't think Jerry Jeudy is a true number one. He's been a number two parading around as a number one.
Yeah, Cedric Tillman profiles to be the best of the bunch as a wide receiver one, the boundary X guy. So,
yeah,
maybe you could, do something with that, with a different offense, highlight his strengths.
Yep, but as of right now, the Cleveland Browns, the head coaching search is on for them. That is a thing. And Kevin Stefanski has been taking job interviews. So here we go.
Yeah. Had you just listened to me, like I told you, you wouldn't have been in this position.
Exactly. Next up, the Vikings. They go out and beat the Packers 16-13 or 16-3 rather. This was kind of expected. The Vikings Packers trot out Clayton Tune. He goes 10 for 11 for 34 yards.
Name that tune.
Exactly. Gets sacked 4 times. Chris Brooks, 13 carries for 61 yards. Manuel Wilson, 18 for 44. Jacoby Keeney James, 2 receptions for 15 yards. After that, who gives a shit? As for the Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, 14 for 23, 182 yards. Max Brosmer does come into this game after McCarthy re-injures his hand, pulls himself out of the game after a first down throw. I thought it showed no balls. I think J.J. McCarthy was injury prone. We can officially just slap that label on him. He had no business out there, and to hell with him. Get me a new quarterback.
You got no argument for me. You'll never hear an argument for me.
Yep.
I mean, what have we been saying since he got drafted in Detroit? They called his number in Detroit for Minnesota, so let's not get confused. But I saw you standing like 5 feet away, and I saw your head just kind of slowly hang down. You just hands on your hips, and you were shaking your head. I saw that, and at this point, yep. I mean, it's like the experiment has failed.
It's done. It's over with. Meantime, rushing-wise, Jordan Mason, 14 carries for 94 yards. Aaron Jones was on the sidelines. He was hurt. Ty Chandler comes back, 10 carries for 23 yards. C.J. Ham, in what is probably his final game with the Minnesota Vikings, 1 carry for 1 yard and touchdown. Receiving-wise, Justin Jefferson, 8 receptions for 101 yards. He becomes one of, I believe it's 4 players to reach 1,000 yards in his first 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Jalen Naylor gets 3 receptions for 49. Josh Oliver gets 2 for 29, and Ben Sims 1 for 18. Ty Chandler also had 3 for 11. And a Boots guy, just throwing it out there, Ben Urisic, gets 1 for 9. So, I mean, it was a kind of a boring game, good defensive performance as per the norm. The Vikings are trying to have discussions with Brian Flores right now, and for retaining him for their defensive coordinator job. We'll see if that happens. But there is a team out there, the first team to put in their formal request to meet with Brian Flores for a head coaching job is the Baltimore Ravens. We'll be talking about them momentarily here. But Brian Flores starting to take interviews here. I hope the Vikings retain him as a Vikings fan. I hope that happens.
I bet you do.
I do, but here we are. Next up, Giants beat the Cowboys and completely fuck up their draft stock for the third year in a row. They win 30.
Good going, boys. Holy smokes.
Giants officially picking 5th in the NFL draft now. This is just kind of is what it is. Jackson Dart, 22 for 32, 232 touchdown. Tyrone Tracy, 18 carries for 103 yards. He came on this year late.
You better call Tyrone.
Yeah, he had a great game in this one. Devin Singletary, 9 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown. Gunnar Olszewski gets 8 receptions for 102. Tyrone Tracy gets 8 for 56 and a touchdown. Daniel Bellinger, 2 for 38 and a TD. And then Darius Slayton, 4 for 34. Meanwhile, for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, 7 for 11 for 70 yards. They pull him out, put Joe Milton in. Joe Milton goes 7 for 13 for 73 yards and a pick. Jaden Blue led the charge in this one, 16 carries for 64 yards and a touchdown. Alex, you're welcome for that. Joe Milton, 4 carries for 43 yards, and Phil Maffa gets 5 for 18 and a touchdown. Receiving-wise, Ryan
I like Phil Maffa.
I do. Receiving-wise, Ryan Flournoy, 5 receptions for 68. Brevin Spanford, 2 for 30.
Bootleg Bettor.
Yes, sir. Luke Schoonmaker, 1 for 12. Phil Maffa, 2 for 11. And I'm excited to talk about the Bootleg B team. We're going to jump into all those next week. Because all these players are starting to declare out of college football, so I'm kind of excited for that. We'll be talking about some of our prospects next week. We were going to do it this week, but guys are still declaring, so we're going to wait a minute. The Cowboys, they've got just some fun stuff going on, but it's more about the Giants here. First of all, the Giants are scheduled to interview former Cowboys and Packers head coach Mike McCarthy on Tuesday.
Boy.
For their vacant head coaching job, NFL insider Tom Pelissero reported.
It would be the most Giants thing in the world to get that man on their sideline.
Yes, it would. Giants have also have an interview scheduled with former Falcons head coach Raheem Morris and Seahawks offensive coordinator Cliff Kubiak per Pelissero. They also requested to interview Broncos assistant head coach and special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi for their head coaching vacancy. The Giants GM Joe Shane and Rizzi, if you recall, worked together in Miami from 2009 to 2016, and the Giants are set to retain GM Joe Shane as the GM in 2026. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's silly as hell. The Giants have all kinds of problems, but the Cowboys have problems too. They go out and fire defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus.
See ya.
Yeah, the Cowboys now
One season.
Yes, 1 season. And the Cowboys now will be going on their 4th different defensive coordinator in 4 seasons.
Look, when you called up last year, you wrote down, you told me that Matt Eberflus got hired as a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. And, the previous year he was head coach of the Chicago Bears. Yeah. And, that regime was, responsible for the Thanksgiving loss to the Lions. It was a canoe with no oars. And then, you kind of wonder why Dallas was so hot and cold throughout the year, and did you see Matt Eberflus get his pink slip?
Well, here's the thing. I believe that Matt Eberflus can be a good defensive coordinator. He showed that. He showed that in Indianapolis. Here's my problem. This is less I think Eberflus was more of a scapegoat, not for Schottenheimer. Right. I think he was a scapegoat for Jerry Jones. Yep. Because Jerry Jones, if you look at what Jerry Jones did, he gave away his best players. All of them. He gave away the best defensive players he had, including Micah Parsons, but not limited to Micah Parsons. Right.
He coughed up Trayvon Diggs too.
Yeah, and he gave away Trayvon Diggs in week 17, but then you sit here and you wonder why the Dallas defense is giving up 34 points to the New York Giants in the last game of the year.
There's a lot of upheaval, a lot of changes in the defense throughout the season. So it's hard enough to get guys to get on the same page when they're in training camp together. It's even worse when you have to welcome in new Quentin Williams coming in, Kenny Clark coming in, Deron Bland in and out of the lineup at the cornerback spot.
He was hurt all year.
He was hurt, right? Trevon Diggs coming off of the injury from last season. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of upheaval, a lot of different things going on in the defense. No wonder they gave up the most yards, points, or whatever. One of the worst defenses in the league, put it that way. And now you say, well, too bad, buddy. Well, you didn't give me anything to work with, and you kept changing the players that I was trying to build a defense with.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a pass rush because no Micah Parsons. They, barely were stopping the run. But
I feel like it's the biggest bait and switch ever. Like you're like, hey, come coach this defense with all these defensive studs. Oh, by the way, after you're hired, we're trading all of them.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
It's like a used car salesman.
yeah, it was a huge bait and switch. They pulled him in, and he was and I mean, I feel for Eberflus because I feel like he got a bad rap here over something that Jerry Jones did. And I understand why Jerry Jones made some of the moves that he made, because he's trying to free up cap space because they are headed toward New Orleans Saints style cap hell. But I'm kind of like, you gave away a lot.
And you have to understand too, it was a complete difference in defensive philosophy that Eberflus was bringing in from the previous coordinator. I'm not going to waste time trying to recall his name right now. But it was a complete change in defensive philosophy. That's going to take time as well.
Was it Zimmer?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was Mike Zimmer. Yeah, it is. It's a completely different philosophy. It's just the whole thing was baffling, and I mean, it doesn't. I guess nothing really surprises me when it comes to Jerry Jones and the Cowboys anymore.
Yeah.
Jerry
says he wants to retire with the most rings.
Yeah,
that ain't gonna happen.
No, I think you're done, Jerry. I think
that's not gonna happen.
Jerry's not gonna retire. He's gonna. That man's gonna keel over before the Cowboys win another one. Unless he becomes, I mean, he's wealthy enough. Watch Jerry Jones it'd be like Futurama, where it's just a head inside of a bowl, but
a head in a pickle jar.
Yeah, just sitting there talking, just a talking head. But at the end of the day, the Cowboys, they dropped this one to the Giants. The Giants, like I said before, their draft stock sinks to 5. They won both of their final games there, so they win their final 2, and here we are, the Giants picking at 5. Next up, the Rams go out and beat the Cardinals 37-20. The Rams do their part. They go out and beat the Cards and finish the season 12-5. Matt Stafford, he goes 25 for 40 for 259, 4 touchdowns on the day. Kyren Williams, 12 carries for 60 yards. Blake Corum, 13 for 59. Tyler Higbee, 5 receptions for 91 yards and a touchdown. Puka Nacua, 10 receptions, 76 and a touchdown. Colby Parkinson, 4 for 36 and 2 touchdowns. Really good to see Colby Parkinson just rolling, man. I like that kid a lot. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett, 22 for 31 for 243, 2 touchdowns on the day. Rushing-wise, Demercado, 2 carries for 29 yards. Look at these carries, lack thereof. I mean, and all the different running backs they went to. Receiving-wise, Michael Wilson, again, doing it up, man. 5 receptions, 99 yards and a touchdown. Trey McBride, 7 for 65. Emery DeMarcado gets 1 for 28. But the Cardinals, they dropped this one. Cardinals are now picking, if I'm not mistaken, 3rd in the draft.
Indeed they are, just ahead of the Vegas Raiders and the New York Football Jets.
Yeah, well, on top of that, they're going to have their work cut out for them. The Cardinals have fired head coach Jonathan Gannon after 3 seasons.
Part of me is like, I don't know about that decision.
Me neither.
I do.
They're scheduled to interview Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy on Friday for their head coaching job.
Okay.
Pelissero and Rappaport, they reported that on Wednesday. The Cardinals have also had interviews scheduled with Raheem Morris, Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, that's for Pelissero, So we're going to see those guys all getting interviewed.
Again, it would be the most Cardinals thing in the world to get to pick up Raheem Morris.
Yeah, watch them. And along with that, the Cardinals have their work cut out for them, along with hiring a new head coach. They've got a QB decision to make this offseason. Kyler Murray, he's guaranteed $36.8 million in 2026. On the 5th day of the new league year in mid-March, another $19.5 million of it, of his base salary for 2027 becomes guaranteed if he's still on the roster. So they're going to have a lot of money wrapped up in Kyler Murray. So we could see a decision on Kyler Murray coming as quickly as the 5th day of the new league year, if not earlier. So here we go. Do they
be before the draft?
Yeah. Do they keep Kyler Murray? Do you think? Do you think they're going to send him out the door?
Yeah. Just like they did Gannon. Listen, I've been saying it, Jonathan. You can't. First of all, you can't lose to the Tennessee Titans the way you did.
Yeah.
No, you cannot.
And you look at what the entire run of Gannon has been. What's the record?
Yeah, it's garbage.
Where are the signature wins? Where are the big wins? Where's the in the defense? He was supposed to be the defensive guy, right?
Yep, non-existent.
Thank you.
Yeah, these guys only won 3 games.
Yeah, I mean it was a horrific year. Defense non-existent, and here we are. You know, so Gannon.
What did you expect?
Right, Gannon gets fired, and what it is. Next up,
the NFL, dog.
Yeah, the Raiders. They go out and beat the Kansas City Chiefs 14-12.
I say ha because, you know, they beat up a nursing home version of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and the Chiefs have all kinds of issues. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm not even going to try and
Chris Oladukin.
I got to think of Ryu or something.
Hadouken.
11 for 17 for 58 yards. Shane Buechele gets 7 for 14 for 88 yards. Rashard Smith, 12 carries for 56. Hollywood Brown, 3 for 64. Noah Gray, 3 for 30. Meanwhile, for the Raiders, Aiden O'Connell comes into this game 10 for 22 for 102 yards.
One of my favorite quarterbacks. I don't care.
I hate him. I hate him.
He's one of my. I like Aiden O'Connell.
He's so bad,
dude.
Dude looks like Farva. Come on now, you gotta love Farva.
Ashton Genty, 26 carries for 87 yards. Michael Mayer had 3 receptions for 47. Trey Tucker, 2 for 30. Shedrick Jackson, 1 for 11. This was a shit bag of a game. It just screamed bad XFL football. It was bad. The Raiders, in turn, they go out and fire head coach Pete Carroll after just 1 season.
About damn time.
Yeah, and then they are scheduled to interview Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy. That happened today.
That ain't gonna happen.
And then the Raiders also have interviews scheduled with Vance Joseph, Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, Broncos QB coach and passing game coordinator Davis Webb, who turns 31 later this month, is interviewing with the Raiders as well. So,
former NFL quarterback.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
why? Sir. What's going on with these coordinators just playing with the enemy? Why you want to go to the divisional rival?
Listen.
What's up with that?
Money talks and bullshit walks. Yeah. You know? That's how it goes.
And Clint Kubiak, you know, he could be on his way to winning a Super Bowl here.
Well, listen, Clint Kubiak, he's an interesting fella. You know, this is probably the first time I've seen Clint Kubiak come into a team in the NFL and actually be successful as an offensive coordinator. He was bad with the Minnesota Vikings, if you recall. Bad, if I'm not mistaken, with the Saints. Comes over to the Seattle Seahawks. They go pass heavy. Sam Darnold runs his system very well, and it's been working out for him. So, I mean, it's worked out for him. And then on top of everything, the Raiders' former head coach, Antonio Pierce, who was a standout linebacker for the New York Giants when he played, he's also interviewing with the Giants for a coaching job. So we might see Antonio Pierce make his way back into the league.
Well, I mean, again, it'd be the most Giants thing in the world.
I'll say this about Pete Carroll. As much as I talk about these old-ass retread head coaches, he had a great run at USC.
He did.
A great run in Seattle. But when he walked away from the game, he should have stayed away from the game.
Yeah, he should have been done. He should have been done, and that would have been it. So we're dealing with that. And then the Chiefs, they've got issues of their own. Tight end Travis Kelce, he's currently deciding on his retirement. He says there's still a lot of love for a game that's still there. We don't know if Travis Kelce is gonna continue to be there with the Chiefs after this year. But then things get worse. Wide receiver Rashee Rice.
Wait a minute. I'll say this real quick. If Travis Kelce comes back with the Chiefs,
yep,
he's not going to be playing with Patrick Mahomes II.
No.
He's going to be playing with whomever they have at the quarterback spot.
Yeah.
So the love might be there, but the production won't be.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to come back. I think the fact that Mahomes isn't going to be there.
No.
I think that's about all she wrote there.
I think Mahomes, as late as Mahomes was injured with both it was the ACL or
ACL and
MCL.
Yeah.
With both of those, man, give 26
a break.
Just stay down. You know what I mean?
You're making your paper, boo-boo.
Completely healthy, and then come back the next season.
Yep, exactly. I agree. But the Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice, he got accused of domestic abuse in a social media post by an ex-girlfriend, Dakota Nicole. The Chiefs organization has said the club is aware of the allegations that were posted on social media, and they've been in communication with the NFL. They have no further comment at the time. She did post a collection of photos that shows damage to a house, bruising on her body and face. She posted a big caption on there. She didn't mention Rice by name. The caption read, I'm quote, "I'm so tired of keeping quiet. I'm so tired of protecting his image. I've been through too much in the span of 8 years, and I've had enough. I've dealt with abuse for years. Me and this man decided to break up a couple months ago, and since then it's been nothing but hell." The two of them have 2 sons. Cassie,
boy.
Nicole went on to detail the allegations, including a home break-in, cheating, cutting up her shoes. I mean, she said.
I'm read about him stuff.
Yeah, he said she said he's very controlling. There's been times he's come into my new home, broken my door. There's been times when he would put his hands on me while I was pregnant, even had the audacity to lock me outside all night in 10-degree weather because he got caught cheating. He's cut up all my shoes and clothes, leaving me with nothing because he's gotten caught up. And there's multiple instances of cheating. But besides that, I'm just tired of him not doing right by my boys. It's not fair. He doesn't call them. He'd rather be laid up with hoes. He literally left us in Kansas, and I had to beg him to send money so that I could drive to Texas with my kids and all of our stuff. We have an agreement because of everything he's put me through, and he still doesn't follow it. He's now trying to remove me and my kids from our home for no apparent reason. I've known this man for years. He tries to put on this persona like he's dad of the year. He does bare minimum, and I have to beg for that. I've protected his image for too long, and I'm done doing that. It's time to protect my peace, protect my children, and stand up for myself. That was the quote from her social media post. Man, Rashee Rice again. Off the field bullshit from Rashee Rice here again. If you recall, he was suspended 6 games during this season for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy because of the 2 third-degree felony charges from a March 2024 crash on the Dallas highway. And here we are, Rashee Rice and all these allegations coming out, about him and abuse and whatever else. And it's like, what is going on with Rashee Rice?
What has Rice said about this situation?
Nothing. There's been nothing that has been said thus far.
You think he's just pleading the fifth and just lawyering up for it?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. The Chiefs organization is aware of the allegations. So, I mean, allegedly, this is what is taking place. You're never quite sure what's going on. You don't. But, I mean,
until all the facts are being, until all the facts are parsed and separated, we don't know. We won't go
I won't
too far with it. But,
I won't speculate. But that was she dragged his name through the mud there.
And probably threw a couple cow pies, too.
I mean,
man. Big Mama Boots would say.
Very concerning if you are the Kansas City Chiefs.
You're staring down the barrel of leaving Arrowhead. Patrick Mahomes is laid up in the hospital. Travis Kelce might be getting married to Taylor Swift, and he may not even come back next year, because he's going to get that money. He's already like worth quite a lot, but if he codifies that partnership with Taylor Swift, he will be worth quite a lot more.
Yeah.
So
it's like, imagine your fiance is worth 1.64 billion, and your combined wealth with your old lady is 1.64 billion, and you're worth 0.01 of it. Man,
kind of how it is at our house.
I mean, goodness, I just, golly, what a situation here for the Chiefs. They're going to have to tackle that this offseason.
It sucks. I mean, she was really mad.
Yeah,
because she got something for me for Christmas, didn't fit. She had to take that muzzle back.
Oh. Let's talk about this next one. Next up, the Commanders. They beat the Eagles 24-17 in the season finale.
Who cares?
Alex, you and I laughed our asses off here. The Eagles were sitting their starters, though. Josh Johnson, 14 for 22, 131, a touchdown and a pick. Chris Rodriguez, 16 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown. Josh Johnson also had 9 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. Receiving-wise, Terry McLaurin, 4 for 57. Deebo Samuel, 2 for 20. Chris Rodriguez, 1 for 18. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, they start Tanner McKee in this one. They rest Tanner McKee, 21 for 40 for 241, 1 touchdown and a pick. Tank Bigsby, 16 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Smith, 3 for 52. Jahan Dotson, 3 for 40. Darius Cooper, 3 for 33. Tank Bigsby, 1 for 31. So they rest their big names, A.J. Brown and, Saquon, and they sit down Jalen Hurts. And
well, the thing about this is, if the Eagles would have won this game and the Bears would have lost their game, the Eagles could have possibly taken the number 2 seed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and they opted for the 3 seed in this situation, which, that puts them up against who?
Well, in this case, it puts them up against the San Francisco 49ers because they dodged a bullet by doing that. They basically played Russian roulette. Because if the Los Angeles Rams would have somehow lost to the Cardinals, which they didn't, if the 49ers would have beat the Seahawks, and clinched the number 1 seed, then the Rams would have been 6 seed and the Seahawks would have been 5 seed, and sitting at the 3 seed, the Rams would have been 6th. So now it's not going to get any easier for Philadelphia. I mean, San Francisco is nobody to play around with. So maybe taking the gamble and taking the rest and taking the hit, is like, okay, we know we're in. We're going to make a run at the Super Bowl. Yeah. So
people this week have been a little critical of the Eagles for sitting their starters and not going after that 2 seed. Nick Sirianni's defended it since then. I understand what he was doing. And like you said, it was a little bit of roulette. Either way, you're going to have your work cut out for you, whether it's with the Niners or the Rams. I agree with you that I think the Niners are a little more beatable than the Rams when it comes to this whole situation. I do believe in that. But here we are. That's a thing. They're going to have an easier time because the Niners offensive tackle, Trent Williams, wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, both those guys been limited in practice this week. So we don't know if they're even going to play. They're listed as questionable. So we're going to find out. But then for the Commanders, Pete's offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, he leaves the team to pursue other opportunities. Because the Commanders went out and fired Joe Witt. No surprise there, right? They went out and they had taken away his play calling duties on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So, but
after that Detroit game,
where
they got blasted by the Lions. Yeah, it was time.
Yeah, they took that away. And then the Commanders have since requested an interview, and I don't understand this one. They have requested an interview with the Raiders defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, for their defensive coordinator job, per sources. So why?
That would seem like another figurehead position, and the head coach would probably still call the defense.
Yeah, Dan Quinn, he's kind of, I think that's kind of a situation where he's like, yeah, I'm going to call my own plays.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a even bigger issue. Commander's Corner earlier today, Marshawn Lattimore was arrested in Lakewood, Ohio.
Dang.
Yeah.
What happened?
Lakewood police say that Lattimore was a passenger in a vehicle that was stopped for an expired license plate and other traffic violations.
It ain't his fault. It ain't his fault.
They said that Lattimore was arrested for improperly handling firearms in a motor vehicle because he did not inform the officer that the firearm was inside the vehicle when he was asked. Authorities said Lattimore was booked into jail and later released pending further investigation. He did not have to post bond. The Commanders did release the following regarding his arrest, and quote, "We have been made aware of the arrest and are gathering more information. We are in communication with the NFL League office and have no further comment at this time." So,
Was it his gun?
I believe it was his gun. So here we are.
Oh, we got to do this.
Big dummy.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. It seems a little murky.
Why would you like the law is, generally speaking, and just as somebody who's been through the CP, you identify that you got one.
But
It's in the
driver's responsibility, though.
Well, anybody in the vehicle. Yes, I have a gun, but I guess when they asked him, he said no. So it's like, that's my understanding of what I read there. So I'm like, that's interesting. So here we are, Marshawn Lattimore dealing with the arrest situation. So we'll find out what happens with that. Could be a suspension looming, but if you do recall, he did tear his ACL this year. He's been out for a large chunk of the season. So who knows if he's even going to be ready for next year anyway, even if he does get suspended.
Or if he'll be in Washington.
Yeah, even if he'll be there. Who knows? It's just the question of the day. But at the end of the day, the Commanders, they go out and win this game. And because they won that last game, they're sitting at 5-12. They've damaged their draft stock as well. They move themselves down to the 7th spot in the NFL draft. Meanwhile, the Eagles, obviously, looking at playoff stuff, will only know how their draft stock situation looks after the playoffs. Next up, Patriots, they go out and dominate the Dolphins 38-10. Hey,
In other news, water is wet.
Yeah, moves are fun. Drake May, 14 for 18, 191 and a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson has the game of his life, 7 carries for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 catches for 22 yards and a 3rd touchdown in this one, so great on him. Travion Henderson, 13 carries for 53 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Bootleg BT.
Yes, sir. Drake May, 5 carries for 41 yards. Hunter Henry, 5 receptions for 56. Stephon Diggs, 3 for 43. Efton Chisholm, 1 for 35. Demario Douglas, 2 for 29. Kayshon Boutte gets 2 for 24. Ramondre Stevenson at 2 for 22. Meanwhile, for the Dolphins, Quinn Ewers, 16 for 23, 137 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Jalen Wright, 13 for 23, rushing-wise. And then receiving-wise, Theo Weiss Jr., 3 for 44. Greg Dulcich gets 3 for 31. Taj Washington, 2 for 26. Jalen Wright, 2 for 17.
People need to start respecting Theo Weiss Jr.
Yeah.
They need to understand something. This guy was at Missouri with Luther Burden III, and Theo Weiss Jr. was putting up numbers every single week. Burden got all of the attention, but Theo Weiss Jr. was doing.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And Weiss, for the last couple of weeks, has been their leading receiver over the course of the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff to see that. But also, the Dolphins, they've got some stuff going on. The team is moving into the next phase of their general manager search with the interim GM Champ Kelly. The Chargers, Chad Alexander, the Packers, John Eric Sullivan, and the 49ers, Josh Williams, all set for in-person interviews this week per Pelissero. But what happened earlier today, the Dolphins fire head coach Mike McDaniel after 4 seasons. No surprise.
We saw it coming.
Yeah, we kind of saw that coming. And, he's been contacted allegedly. The rumors are swirling that he's been contacted by the Detroit Lions for the vacant offensive coordinator position. So we'll find out if that's true.
No, yes, we don't deal in rumor and innuendo here.
Well, here's the thing. How do we know that Detroit is looking for a new offensive coordinator?
Well, the Detroit did go out and fire their offensive coordinator, John Morton, after 1 season. So that's a thing.
That's why.
Yes, so that's a thing. We'll talk about the Lions here pretty shortly. Rumors also are swirling about Tua Tagovailoa. possibly going elsewhere after being benched for the 2025-26 season. Tua said it would be, quote unquote, pretty dope to wind up in another place.
You think?
Outside of Miami.
I mean, look at his tenure in Miami. You know, every once in a while he got hurt. He got left out. He got left out to dry after getting knocked in the head one too many times. You know, he's probably going to have, you know, reduced cognitive functions because of all those concussions. You know, and it's because Mike McDaniel left him out to dry.
Yeah.
Among other folks, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Miami did hang him out to dry, and I agree with that. But, I mean, you imagine Tua Tagovailoa in a spot with a really good offensive line.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's how they hung him out to dry. They didn't have an offensive line.
Still one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league. The arm strength doesn't have a cannon nowhere near it, but he gets the ball out on time in a timing and rhythm offense with his ability to the quick release and be accurate with the football. He could definitely do some damage.
His first 2 years there, their offense ranked number 1 and number 5.
Yeah.
I mean, his first 2 years. So, I mean, and then the final 2 years, I mean, you can tell when things went downhill with Laramie Tunsil getting traded, the lack of offensive line help, and then they sunk down to 18 and then 25 the following 2 years. So, I mean, you can kind of see, like, what happened there.
Yeah,
and it wasn't
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Multiple weeks.
It wasn't entirely his fault.
No.
You know, so I got questions about whether or not they're going to try and deal Tua Tagovailoa, whether they're going to draft a quarterback. Miami could make a move, you know, and they're picking at number 11 in draft this year. So, I mean, quarterbacks are probably still going to be available, but, I mean, are we going to see another Alabama quarterback? Ty Simpson just declared for the draft. I mean,
they've already got Quinn Ewers. They don't need, quote unquote, need another quarterback. I mean, they need offensive line.
I agree with that. Big time. They need another receiver.
Like I've been saying for the last 5, 7, 8, 9.
We've been saying that for years
now.
Years now. We've sat on this show for 3 years now saying that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they need an offensive line. As for the Lions go out and win their final game of the year. They beat the Chicago Bears 19.
Who cares?
I'm through Detroit.
No.
Who was the only one on this show? Who told you that the Lions don't win? The bootleg better. That's who.
Well, if you were a betting man on Sunday, you know, you won there, but too little, too late is what I say.
Yeah, Goff, 27 for 42, 331, a touchdown and a pick. Jameer Gibbs, 19 carries for 80 yards. David Montgomery, 8 for 42. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 11 receptions for 139 yards. Jamison Williams, 6 for 74. Khalif Raymond, 3 for 52. And Jameer Gibbs also had 3 for 33 and a touchdown.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, for
the
Bears, Caleb Williams, 20 for 33, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. DeAndre Swift, 10 carries for 40 yards. Kyle Monangai, 6 for 14. Colston Loveland had his best game of the year, 10 receptions on 13 targets for 91 yards and a touchdown. Jade Walker also had 2 for 36 and a touchdown. Luther Burden, 3 for 35, but it could have been more, and he could have had a score in this game. But a costly drop in this game.
Oh boy, it was brutal.
Yeah, just like last week. You're right. But the Bears, man, they go out and they drop this one to the Lions, but they still stay in the 2 seed because the Eagles went out and lost their game. The Lions, like I said earlier, they go out and fire offensive coordinator John Morton. No surprise there. We were wondering if he still worked there.
Right.
And the Lions offensive coordinator search begins.
Yeah, here's the thing. And I'm going to say this to all of you Detroit Lions fans. I don't care who you are. If you were talking, they should lose so they can get a better draft pick. These are grown-ass men putting food on their table. You going to tell me a 330-pound man whose knee is burning every single night because he's putting it all on the line, you want to tell him go out and purposely lose, whose shoulder is burning, can't sleep on one side because he done put it all on the line every single play of every single game, go out and purposely lose so we can get a better draft pick? No! This is Detroit. We don't purposely lose. We go out and we handle business because we play with pride. We play to the echo of the whistle, and we play every single down, every single game. And I'm sick and tired of these people saying that they should have lost and we could get a better draft pick. Hell no. You damn right, Detroit. Go out and win. and manhandle the Bears. Dan Campbell doing the damn thing. 2-0 against Ben Johnson. 2-0 against Ben Johnson. How many times I got to say it? 2-0 against Ben Johnson. Straw that stirred the drink. Talking receipt. Get up out of here. Man Campbell. Handle business. Let's go.
Well, Dan Campbell does handle business. I will say that if the Lions if they had won this game, they would have been picking at, or if they had lost this game, they would have been picking at 13 instead of 17, which is a pretty steep drop.
All right.
But and the Vikings and the Lions, wind up as 9-8. But I will say, with the Lions winning this game and finishing the season 9-8, what did I say? I told you the Lions were going to wind up 9-8 this year, and here we are.
You did.
Saw this.
They finished the game strong. They finished the season strong.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they did what they were supposed to do. They played with pride and doggone it. All you Lions fans should be proud of Detroit. But instead, you whining because it's too little too late. They should have lost so they could get a better draft pick.
You're so mad.
You don't seem to appreciate that. Well, okay, I will say this. I get if you want to go ahead.
If you want to purposely lose, you are a PUSS. Why do I say that? Because we play to win the game. Herm Edwards told me that.
Mm-hmm. He told us all that. He did.
Herm wasn't long for this world, for the record.
I don't give a damn. They ran Lovie Smith out of Houston because he won a game. So what? We win. We play to win.
Man.
How else you showing up for work? If that's the case, just forfeit the game. Don't even get on the bus and just go to Hawaii.
I'll go to Hawaii. But, Alex, what say you here?
So I understand the point. I totally understand you. And again, this is a team that was 8-9 or 8-8 going into this game. And regardless of whether they won or whether they lost, they were still going to be picking pretty high in the draft. Past the top 10. And now we're picking 17, which you can still find some gold. In the 17th pick of the first round. You can also probably use it as a little golden fish hook. To trade down or trade up. That you have that situation, and. We're 2-0 against Ben Johnson, sure, but it's my firm belief that I still believe that Ben Johnson was the straw that stirred the drink in Detroit when they had their two most successful seasons. They go to the NFC title game the one year, and then they, get the number 1 seed the next year. And there's going to be some hard times for Detroit, but that's nothing new for this franchise. I'll say that too. You do want to have, that speech did move me a little bit, Boots, because you do want to have, that grit. You want to have, that sense of competitive spirit, because that's what Detroit does. That's the identity of the city. Yes, we can talk about football smarts, and we can talk about which I'm growing wiser to, but at the same time, it makes sense. I mean, and I think Detroit fans should move on from the Ben Johnson stop worrying about Ben Johnson. Just be happy for him that he's with a team that he's been able to build up. And, these Bears just made the number 2 seed. I mean, save for Seattle, there's this road to the Super Bowl's going through Chicago. So, he took Caleb Williams, a struggling quarterback, and turned him into dynamite, and then he's got all these other offensive pieces, that have really gotten there.
Boots, you really hate Ben Johnson.
Here's the thing. Why on earth, if Ben Johnson went to the Arizona Cardinals, sure, be happy for him in Arizona. If he went to be happy in Jacksonville. You don't be happy for Ben Johnson in Chicago. In Tennessee, not Chicago.
Man, you hate the Bears. Hate them.
Well, they are division rivals.
Yeah. It's just one of those interesting things. But the Chicago Bears, as you said, Alex, are the 2 seed.
It'll be our time.
Yeah.
And then some. Fire.
Yeah, and
brimstone.
I think there's going to be hard times for the Detroit Lions. I agree with you, Alex. I think they've got a lot of work to do. I think
They do.
an edge rusher situation. You heard Brad Holmes in his presser this week. He sat there and said, "Hey, once again, here we are, Brad. I'm not that worried about edge rusher. I'm not that worried about it. Well, dude, you need to get worried about it. You don't have an edge rusher. I mean, at the end of the day,
You're not a good one to compliment Hutch.
Yeah. I mean, you can't keep bringing in the corpse of Marcus Davenport and hope that this is going to change the world on your defense.
I think the duct tape expired on that poor fella.
Yeah, it just doesn't work anymore.
I will agree with that.
Yeah, you need an edge rusher. Yeah, and you're losing Anzalone this year. You need a linebacker. You got a lot of cap situations that you need to cover. Even though the cap is going to increase this year, which it has notoriously over the last couple of years, increased by about 9 to 10 million every year. But the Lions are entering what we call New Orleans Saints cap hell, where you've got all your money wrapped up in about 5-6 players. And there's going to be an issue here where you got to sign Brian Branch. You got to get, Jack Campbell signed to a deal. You got to get Sam Laporta signed to a deal. You got to get Jahmyr Gibbs signed to a deal. And the bill is coming due. And I don't know that there's going to be enough to go around to get all these guys signed to contract, even with the increases in the cap, because as the increase in the cap happens, so does the player value. Yeah. So, that just seems to be the thing. So, and plus you're going to have to go out. If I'm Brad Holmes, I'm going to the first round and I'm finding an edge rusher. There's got to be one there. And I don't think anybody like Bain's going to fall.
There's a couple.
Yeah, there's a couple in there, though, where you can get yourself a really good edge rusher. And I think this is the time that Brad Holmes, he needs to stop just blowing that off, and he needs to make a move. And if you're going to correct some problems on this defense, you got to correct problems on your interior offensive line. That's a thing. There are really good centers available in this draft, by the way. A couple in the second, couple in the third, that I'm going, ooh, man, that's a really good interior offensive lineman. Ironically, both these teams pick back-to-back, the Vikings and the Lions, and guess what they both happen to need? A fucking center. I mean, here we are. Get yourself a center, for Christ's sake. But, all that's going on. Next up, let's talk about the Broncos and the Chargers. The Broncos beat the Chargers 19-3. They solidify the 1 seed here. Bo Nix, man, 14 for 23, 141 in this game. He also ran 8 times for 49 yards. Jaleel McLaughlin, 6 carries for 41. R.J. Harvey, 15 for just 28 yards. Receiving-wise, Evan Ingram, 3 for 45. Pat Bryant, 4 for 31. Tyler Beatty gets 2 for 28. Jaleel McLaughlin, 1 for 17. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, Trey Lance comes in and draws the start here. The Chargers opted to rest their players. Lance goes 20 for 44 for 136 and a pick. Trey Lance also had 9 carries for 69 yards. Keenan Allen, 7 for 36. Trey Harris, 2 for 28. Keandre Lambert-Smith, 2 for 24. Rondé Gadsden gets 2 for 23. No surprise that the Broncos won this game. As soon as we realized that the Chargers were just resting their guys for the playoffs, it was like, this will be a hauling. Might as well just mark the Broncos off as, yes, they're the 1 seed, and that's about that. I mean, that's
well, they needed. Well, in respect, they needed it. I mean, you want to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, especially if your stadium's a mile high. They were going to be jockeying with the Patriots, and the Patriots, they made their statement against the Dolphins. So, you do want to play, for the number 1 seed. And, and this team, I'm telling you this, I think they're the team to beat in this conference. They only got 2 games to get to the Super Bowl,
Right now, I mean, the Broncos have been playing lights out ball. That defense has been really good. You could see Denver, New England in the AFC title game, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
No. Oh, it would harken back to the old, Colts Patriots rivalries.
It's I could see Denver and New England. I mean, and if
Two really good head coaches.
two really good head coaches, two really good defenses. Both their defenses have been really rock solid this year. Good run games, good young quarterbacks. Hey, let's go. I'd be here for it. That would be a hell of a matchup in the AFC. You could see it. Another team you could see in the AFC, by the way, let's talk about them. The Buffalo Bills. They go out and kick the ever-loving shit out of the New York Jets, 35-8.
Hey.
Yeah,
Let's go, Buffalo.
Mitchell Trubisky draws the start here. 22 for 29, 254, 4 touchdowns on the day. Ray Davis, 21 carries, 151 yards in this game. My goodness gracious. Ty Johnson, 13 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown. They did put James Cook out there for 2 rushes. Keon Coleman, 2 receptions for 49 yards. Dalton Kincaid, 3 for 48. Gabe Davis, 5 for 41 and a touchdown. Kaleki Latu gets 3 for 31. Dawson Knox, 2 for 24 and a touchdown. Ray Davis also had 2 receptions for 23 yards and a touchdown. Ty Johnson, 2 for 20 and a touchdown. Spreading the ball out. Meanwhile, the Jets, the struggle continues. Brady Cook, 11 for 22, 60 yards and a touchdown.
Well, the whole season's been for the Jets.
Yeah. Khalil Herbert, 12 carries for 42 yards. Isaiah Williams, 5 receptions for 24. John Mechie, 3 for 20. I believe that the Jets will be looking for a quarterback. As it currently stands, they're set to pick at 2. Meanwhile, for the Bills.
I don't see why not. They got Brady Cook.
Oh, God. Oh, God.